Hi, my name is Amanda Soto, and I'm doing my formative speech on Anastasia, who's the Duchess of Russia, the Grand Duchess who was. Everyone knows about the 1997 20th Century Fox film Anastasia. The film is about a young girl named Anastasia Romanov, who is the Grand Duchess of Russia. There was an invasion of their palace, and her whole family was murdered except for her and her grandmother. While trying to get on a train, Anastasia falls off and hits her head and loses her memory completely. The next scene is her leaving an orphanage and setting off to Paris to look for her grandmother. In the end of the film, she eventually finds her grandmother, gets her memory back, and lives happily ever after. But in real life, the real Anastasia, her story didn't end well. Growing up as a Grand Duchess, Anastasia Romanov of Russia, she was born June 18, 1901. Anastasia was the youngest daughter of Nicholas II of Russia, who was the longest sovereign of Imperial Russia, and his wife Alexandra. She was the youngest sister of Olga, Tatiana, and Maria, and was the older sister of Alex. When Anastasia was born, her father was upset to have had a fourth daughter instead of a son to take his place on the throne. Her parents named her Anastasia because it means the breaker of chains. It was appropriate at the time because in honor of her birth, her father pardoned and restated students who had been in prison for participating in riots in St. Petersburg that same year. Anastasia and all her siblings were raised as simple as possible. They all slept on cots and they all had to take cold showers in the morning. They all had chores, clean their room like any normal child. Anastasia never used her formal name. She had a ton of nicknames, some of which were Anastasi, Nastia, Nastas, and Malkaya. Anastasia had a deformity in her left foot, as did her soon-to-be imposter, Anna Anderson. Anastasia as a child was always a joker. She would chip the servants and would often play pranks on her tutors. She would also do crazy things like climb trees and never want to come back down. She was said to set the record for getting in trouble the most out of all her siblings. It was once said that she even rolled up a rock into a snowball one winter and threw it at one of her sisters, knocking her to the ground. She was said to be somewhat evil. She would cheat, kick, scratch her playmates on play dates. Anastasia had suffered from hallux valgus, which is bunions, on both of her big toes. She also had a blood disorder called hemophilia, which is the blood's inefficiency to be able to clot. So her and all her brothers and sisters, they would all bleed a lot, like nonstop. They got that from their mother. The one who suffered the most was Alex, her little brother, and he almost died about 3 times because of it. The Romanovs became really good friends with a man named Rasputin, who was a wandering holy man, but he was just a peasant. But their mother, practically worshipped the ground he walked on. She trusted him with everything. He would, one day, the nanny caught Rasputin inside the girls' nursery while they were changing into their nightgowns, and the nanny was appalled and she told Nicholas, the king, and he got her fired because his wife didn't want to believe anything. He later was not convicted. There was rumors of him raping the girls and seducing the queen, the empress. And Anastasia she defended him to the end. And during one of the world wars, World War I, Nicholas renounced his throne, and after that they went into house arrest. They were moved from house to house, different places. And then on July 17th, 1918, along with her family and her 4 servants, they were all shot and killed in a half-cellar room measured to be 25 feet by 21 feet. Their execution was done by Yakov Yovesky. secret police by the secret police. They were commanded by that guy. Anastasia also had many imposters after that, after her death, and they believed that she had escaped. And the most famous imposter ended up being crazy and really believed she was Anastasia, but she was taken to a psycho ward, and yeah. So in real life, her life was nothing like the movie. It was a lot more traumatic. The PowerPoint, I just got some of the main things. Can you see it? That's a picture of her, of Anastasia. That's the movie. That's the movie Anastasia, and that's the real Anastasia. That's Anastasia with her mother when she was a baby. On June 18th, that's the day she was born. That's Anastasia with her 4 sisters and her little brother. That's Anastasia making faces at the camera because she was always like a huge joker. That's Rasputin, and that's the cellar that they were all murdered in, and that's the guy who murdered them. And that's her imposter, the one who claimed to be Anastasia, but it really wasn't. So yeah, that's it.